back to the Brotherhood of Gaming, everybody. Guess what? It's a brand new year, which, you know what? We haven't had a new Dragon Ball Z game in a while. I guess that's what a new year should be. We should have one.
Oh, is that what it means?
I guess so.
Well, anyway, this is actually pretty unique. This is Dragon Ball FighterZ from Arc System Works. You know, the same guys behind the BlazBlue and Guilty Gear series.
Yeah, the thing is, when I first saw this game show up at E3, I was sitting there kind of not too excited because for me, I was thinking, it's kind of too late, really. Like, this is a game that really should have happened a long time ago. But you know what? Better late than never. But here's the thing, guys. Understandably, Dragon Ball Z fans are super passionate. So before we get knee-deep into the series, talking about Dragon Ball Z fighters and all that stuff, I think we probably should give you guys a little bit of heads up exactly as to where we come from when it comes to the Dragon Ball Z franchise.
Now, we are both fans of the classic Dragon Ball Z, everything through the Buu saga. In fact, some of my fondest childhood memories were getting home from school in time for the afternoon Toonami session to catch the newest episode as it came out.
As for me, I really became a fan through Will, and soon after I would buy my own DVDs and build up my own Dragon Ball Z collection.
Now, neither of us have really gotten into Dragon Ball Super, as we haven't really seen an episode. But we did hear a lot of horrible things, so we jumped ship. However, we did enjoy the last couple of movies that did come out, such as Resurrection F and Battle of Gods. The latter we saw in the theater, which was awesome. We love Lord Beerus.
So as you guys can see, based on all of that, we are big fans of the original Dragon Ball Z franchise, up until Frieza to Kid Buu and all that. I mean, look at all this cool stuff. We got DVDs, video games, figures. I mean, you love us, right? We like anime, right? I mean, that's all cool. I mean, look, check it. We own all this cool stuff. You love us, right? We like anime games.
Anyway, as you can see, we have a lot of Dragon Ball Z love in our fandom. And of course, we've played a lot of Dragon Ball Z games, and we've had varying opinions on many of them.
While we have not enjoyed all the games from the franchise, there were plenty that we did, such as Burst Limit, the Raging Blast series, and of course the Budokai games. Now there has been plenty of fighting-based games on Dragon Ball Z, but none that's quite like this one. Essentially, this is a Dragon Ball Z game for the fighting game fans, specifically people who enjoy Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom.
Now first we're going to go over the story mode in this game, so if you want to skip any potential spoilers, then we suggest you skip to this time frame in the video right here. Okay?
That's right, guys. Because guess what? There's an original story with this Dragon Ball Z game, so yeah, avoiding spoilers would probably be a good idea. Again, there it is. So, without further ado, let's get back into this game and talk about the story. There it is, your last chance.
When it comes to the story of Dragon Ball FighterZ, we can honestly say that it is pretty refreshing that what we have here is an original story. So many other Dragon Ball Z games would just retell the same old stories, while others like Battle of Z and the Xenoverse games would put a different twist on it. But that is not the case here, however. The story is separated into 3 separate arcs that each tell the story from different points of view. Essentially, the first is the hero's arc, the second is the villain's arc, and the third and final one is the Android 21 arc. The funny thing is, though, that none of the arcs tell the story of this game exactly the same. Maybe that is kind of a nod to how wonky the series continuity can get from time to time, specifically when you try to take the movies into account. All in all, I feel that Android 21 arc is the true telling of the game's story, as it really details her origin. Android 21 was another model of super androids that was created by the late Dr. Gero. Yeah, I know, it doesn't make sense. In her previous life, she was a full-blooded human, and her son was the inspirational design for Android 16. When she is activated, she first repairs Android 16 and then travels to Namek to use their Dragon Balls to resurrect Frieza, Cell, Nappa, and the Ginyu Force.
Now in a way, 21 is similar in design to Cell, as she can absorb other fighters to become stronger. She does this by using the Buu cells inside her body, and she turns her enemies into sweets that she can devour. Hence why her main form is that of a Majin. But it comes at a price, as the insatiable hunger inside her begins to take form of its own, resulting in a split personality, one good and one evil. In addition, 21 uses a wave machine that suppresses the souls and powers of all the warriors, good and bad, on Earth. and she creates clones of them that she can use to feed on. To try and keep the hunger at bay, 21 and 16 uses a linking system that was created by Dr. Giro. With this, a human soul can possess the body of an individual warrior and form a symbiotic relationship with them. While the soul is in charge, the warrior can go into battle and become stronger over time. Now, you may have guessed it, but yes indeed, the player is that soul. So it's almost like you've been placed right into a Dragon Ball Z adventure, where you can interact with the cast and even have conversations with them. In the hero's arc, you are possessing Goku. In the villain's arc, it's Frieza, and in the Android 21 arc, your host is Android 18. Each arc is played out in chapters that are represented in this map system. It is played pretty much like a board game. The goal is to get to the boss character and defeat him. You have to do it in a number of turns. Most of the spots in the map will have a group of opponents for you to battle, and they can become stronger. Also, every once in a while, Kid Buu will appear on the map and absorb them to take their spot. The more battles you fight, the more you can level up your characters and acquire skill boosts that you can equip. Examples include increased attack power, more money you can earn through victories, higher defense, etc.
Now over time, you are going to collect more party members that have been knocked out by the wave machine. Once this happens, they can then become playable in your party of 3 characters. But you are going to end up collecting more characters along the way anyway, so it actually would be a wise idea to level all of them up just to have them on standby when you need them.
Because after fights, your warriors will regain some health, but not all of it. And if all of your fighters get their health drained, it is game over and back to the start of the map for you. Another cute part of the story is depending on the team that you mix and match together, you can watch these cute cutscene scenarios between the characters. Here, many of them can discuss the events at hand, or even bring up events from the past, which is always a hoot, when a hero and a villain are teamed up together. Also, the more you use characters, you can also unlock link events. From the Team Edit menu, you can view one of the conversations that the cast have with the soul inside their bodies, i.e. you. Now, as Android 21 travels around with the rest of the Android brethren, the hunger inside of her begins to take over. The linking system is trying to keep her from going insane, but it finally all hits the fan when the group is confronted by Cell. Needing to power up to her original form, she does so to fight him off, but goes mad with rage. In the fit of her bloodlust, she destroys Android 16. The shock of that event finally causes her to split into 2 beings. The evil Android 21 runs off to enact her plan of world domination by devouring all the powerful souls on Earth.
The good 21 and the rest of the androids try to stop her, but they're no match. But thankfully, they are saved by Goku and Krillin. After joining up with the rest of the Z fighters on Bulma's ship, they decide to travel the world and battle the remaining clones, to make the link stronger and draw Evil 21 to them. With the power that Evil 21 possesses, Goku decides that Earth would be in too much danger if they fought there, so he instant transmissions the group to the secret world of the Kai. With Evil 21 arriving, it is there that they begin their battle. With Evil 21's powerful regeneration ability, she quickly recovers from her wounds, so Goku realizes that the only way to stop her is to wipe her all out once and for all with the Spirit Bomb. Good 21 is able to hold her off just long enough for Goku to form one and unleash it on her. However, Evil 21 is still powerful enough to hold it off. Thus, Good 21 decides to sacrifice herself by tackling Evil 21 and letting the giant bomb destroy both of them. With Lord Beerus and Whis arriving to survey the aftermath of the battle, Goku decides to meet with King Yema in order to ask for 21 to be resurrected. Because as we all know, death means nothing in Dragon Ball Z. But not before returning to Earth to reunite the player's soul with their original body.
So what can we say about the story here? Well, it's Dragon Ball Z through and through, filled with all sorts of inconsistencies, but you know, at this point, it really is part of its charm. Now, how do we feel about Android 21 herself, the original character for this game? Now, for the first couple of arcs, we didn't think too much about her. She really came off as just another crazed villain bent on world domination.
It is almost like one said, hey, I really want to have sex with Majin Buu, but the problem is, I'm not gay. If only she was reimagined as a big-boobed anime girl. Ah, there we go. But the third arc did its job by fleshing out her character and giving us more of a reason to care about her. So, all in all, she's a nice addition to the DBZ mythos. Look, it's not Shakespeare, but it is Dragon Ball Z. And fans of the series should like the story of this game well enough.
Really, the biggest highlight is just seeing all of these beloved characters interacting with each other, and in clever and often humorous ways. These alone will put a smile on any longtime fan. I too believe the story is above most other Dragon Ball games because it does go out of its way with an original story and not trying to attempt to retell the same mythos again and again and again. Still, because it is Dragon Ball, by nature, nothing here is to be taken seriously, as some parts of the mythos, for the sake of storytelling, obviously creates huge plot holes, but considering how Dragon Ball works nowadays with the whole Super arc going on, I suppose that's the least of fan issues. So, bottom line, the story is fun and new, and is a pleasure to go through, especially if you grew up a fan. But more importantly, Arc System Works has done a fantastic job of translating the fighting style of the anime to a 2.5D fighter, complete with assists. There is a reason that style is so freaking popular with the fighting game community. Because, well, hey, to start off, it's pretty damn easy to pick up and play, and it just feels so dynamic. It's just a good mesh with Dragon Ball Z. Now, the game has 3 basic attack buttons: light, medium, and heavy, and a projectile button, which for the most part pretty much is just used for ki blasts. The left buttons on the control can call your teammates in order to attack. By quickly pressing one, they will do a quick attack and then back out of the screen. And by holding down, that will switch out to that selected party member. On the right side of the controller, with the shoulder buttons, you can use them to do a guard break, which has a chance to see those trademark rapid attacks. In the end, you will knock your opponent into the air to continue dishing out the punishment. The other can be used for a rush attack. This has to be one of our favorite moves in the game, as it is a great way to reduce distance and continue the string of combos. For example, we really like unleashing a combo, then doing a warp behind the enemy to attack from the back. Then rush in to catch them on the rebound. Oh man, that's good stuff. I love it. Also note, these are just the default settings, as you can assign them to any layout that you wish. In addition to health bars, you also have the ki gauge. The gauge can be filled up to 7 maximum bars, and they can be filled by giving and or receiving damage. They can also be charged manually as well through typical Dragon Ball Z fare of standing and staring at each other while charging up, These gauges allow you to perform your super attacks and special maneuvers, like the warping behind your enemy move. Yeah, awesome. When you have at least 1 gauge filled though, you can perform your special move. And when you get up to at least 3 of them, you can dish out the meter attack, which is akin to a level 3 hyper, best known from the Marvel vs. Capcom series, complete with flashy animations.
Now, the term we like to use for a game like this is that this is the type of fighting game where you can kind of fake it, meaning that the majority of the maneuvers in this game pretty much have the same motion, which is this kind of rolling motion with the coordinating button, similar to Ryu's Hadouken. And this is pretty much the same for all the characters in the game.
Now this makes the game more accessible to a general audience. Another thing is that by pressing just one of the buttons in rapid succession, you can perform an automatic combo. Now, we are aware that there are many out there who will be turned off by this, as it does make the game feel a little too easy, but we personally do not see a problem with that, because there are still ways to perform more advanced combos with more complex button presses. The automatic combos is good for players right out the gate, but the flexibility is there for you once you get better at the game.
Now, as your average fighter, the standard maneuvers are present in this game as well, such as cancels, recoveries, snapbacks, pushbacks, turnarounds, the works.
But also, you have sparkle attacks that help your defense when you are in a pinch. And you also have the ability to summon Shenron. Every time you do a successful combo string or perform a special, you will be awarded with a Dragon Ball. If you collect all 7, Shenron will appear and grant you a wish, which includes reviving an ally, increasing your strength, recovering a fighter's health, or increasing your resistance to physical damage. It is pretty rare, however, when it happens. All in all, the fighting mechanics in this game are just wonderful. Now, the roster is a tad on the short side, considering that this is a 3-on-3 fighter, But there will be more characters through downloadable content in the future, which, sad, but it just comes with the territory these days. The roster is pretty much a combination of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super characters. There are 2 different versions of Goku, 2 versions of Vegeta, the classic Z fighters, the classic villains, some new characters like Lord Beerus, Hit, and Goku Black. And of course, Android 21, who became available after completing the story mode.
Now there are the graphics. The game is presented in 2.5D animation, and there are some mixed feelings on it. Now when in action, the game just looks great, and the backgrounds look good as well. But during cutscenes, they sometimes look a little robotic. 2.5D animation in anime is quite a controversial subject, as many fans absolutely hate it. We are kind of split on this issue as well. A good example is the upcoming Batman Ninja anime. Now, I personally think it looks great, while Will thinks it looks like a piece of shit. Now, I don't know how people will feel about it here in this game, so I guess it's just a matter of taste. All I can really say is, personally, I think the game looks fine for the most part, but it will not meet everyone's palate.
The classic voice acting returns here as well, as you can switch between English and Japanese. One weird issue though is, which honestly it can be overlooked, is that obviously the game is a Japanese title and the mouth movements reflect that, as the English dub for the most part consistently is out of sync with the mouth movements of the characters. It is very noticeable, but whether it bothers you or not is really up to you. Me? I learned to get over it. As for the soundtrack, well, it's pretty darn solid. Here are a few selections of tracks we particularly like. Now let us talk about the other modes in this game. And first and foremost, we have to talk about the lobby system. When you first select a region, you then be able to make your choice of which lobby you want to enter. This is probably the biggest complaint we have on this game, as it can be very fidgety. There were many times that we were denied access because a lobby was just too full, or we got kicked out due to connections being lost. It's like, damn! I would like to play my game, please. Now, eventually, we would get in and have a long play session, but we'd be lying if we didn't say that this happened to us more than once. And believe us, it's a real drag. Now, you can choose to go in an offline lobby, but you would be by yourself and would not have access to any of the online features. And hey, that's just no fun. When in the lobby, you have several choices at your fingertips. First, there's the shop where you can spend your zenny on cosmetic items such as avatars, greetings, messages, so forth. It is kind of a loot box system, but thankfully it doesn't really feel all that intrusive. The game also features an arcade mode where you can battle team after team down a multiple branching course with characters you freely select, or with your preset team of favorites. Depending on your ranking from previous battles, determine which path you will take, and really allows you to challenge yourself. It is here that you can unlock the Super Saiyan Blue forms of Goku and Vegeta, and it can be played both online and offline.
Now, local battle allows you to battle against CPU opponents as well as locally with friends. This can be done either one-on-one or in a tournament style. In arena match, you can face off against other players in the lobby, or just sit around and watch. The ring matches allow you to host or compete against certain other players in sort of a party feel, and interact with each other through preset messages and Z stamps. And of course, there's a tutorial here as well, which will allow you to review techniques and complete combo challenges. You can also view rankings and watch replays from great battles that have taken place. But the big one here, of course, is World Battle, where you can fight online against other players, and we're happy to say that the connection in this game is pretty darn good. I would say about 9 out of 10 times we experience a smooth battle with no real lag. Matches are also found pretty quickly, meeting the customization standards that we input. Despite the initial entering into a lobby system, the features here are filled with variety, great customization, great connection, and overall just really good.
Now kids, some people out there on the hype train might be saying and claiming that Dragon Ball Z FighterZ is the greatest Dragon Ball Z game that has ever been made, that has been created to grace us with its presence and beauty. To that and to them I say, they are stupid. Dragon Ball Z Sagas was the greatest thing we created as human beings, and they are stupid for ever thinking otherwise. I'm kidding, this game's awful. I guess you can actually consider us on the bandwagon and the camp as well. Dragon Ball Z FighterZ is actually really awesome.
The fighting may not be as complex as other fighting games, but we feel that really works well in its favor, to be honest, as it is quite accessible. This is a game that we can not only recommend to Dragon Ball fans, but to non-fans alike. It is just so damn fun. It made us bring up those old school episodes and relive those awesome moments from the past, like Goku battling Frieza and going Super Saiyan for the first time, Trunks' introduction, the battle against Cell, and Goku and Vegeta against Kid Buu. These moments will always be with us, and we can relive them again and again. And with Dragon Ball FighterZ, we now have a competitive fighting game that really delivers the nostalgic goodness. This game is definitely a high recommendation.
You cocky bastard! Final blast!
There you guys have it. That is Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, on here at the Brotherhood of Gaming, we may not be the most expertise gamers when it comes to fighting games, but one thing you can always count on us knowing is a good time when we see it. And if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, or hell, maybe even just a casual fighting game player, I'm sure you are going to be more than satisfied with this entry. Meanwhile, thank you guys for watching thebrotherhoodofgaming.com. I'm your host, William Morris.
I'm your co-host, Eugene Morris.
And feel free to hit that subscribe button along with that little bell for notifications, and we'll see you in the next game review.
And don't forget to tell us in the comments about how much Goku can kick Superman's ass.
Bitch, I will kill you in your sleep! No, get out of my way or you're going down with them!
No, stop! Don't!
Never! Superman is the best, you son of a...
No, stop!